to order at 7:02. Rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dombrowski? Here. Trustee Gilbert?
Here.
Trustee Guerrero? Here. Trustee Nona?
Here.
Trustee Bertoli?
Here.
Trustee Hashem? Here. President Bison?
Here.
Treasurer Samowski?
Here.
Clerk Woodson? Here.
All right. Approval of the agenda. We do have a slight change to make to item A under the treasurer or bill payment of bills. We realized there was another a typo. Sorry, didn't mean to say it like that. Yes, our treasurer did catch there was a typo, so it's 667, not 668. The rest of the numbers are.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as presented with the changes now.
Second.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the agenda as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Public comments on the agenda?
My name is William Benoit. I recently moved into the village about 7 or 8 weeks ago. I did have surgery not too long ago. I slurred my speech, I apologize. But one of the things when I first attended the planning commission meeting and the first village commission meeting was the agenda, this public comments on agenda items. My concern is we're being asked to make comments on agenda items before we hear them. Before you get to hear the petitioner, before we get to hear comments from the board. That's how normally I've dealt with meetings. I started thinking about the number of meetings that I've been to, public meetings, and that's all the way they've always gone. So we are asked to make comments on agenda items, and this is the only place, from what I can tell, that we're allowed to do that. Just seems a little bit odd, because sometimes things come up during discussion that maybe the public might have a little input on. So that we might request is that hopefully we can look at that in the future and change that. So, thank you.
Any other public comment on the agenda items? Approval of the minutes. First up, item number A, general operating and fire millage, public hearing on June 10th, 2025.
Do you want to do them all separate?
Yeah, I probably should just do them all separate.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the general operating and fire millage public hearing on June 10th, 2025 meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number B, regular meeting minutes from June 10th, 2025.
So moved. Support.
That's been moved and doubly supported that we approve the meeting minutes from the regular meeting on June 10th, 2025. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Last but not least, item number C, special meeting minutes for June 26th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and supported that we approve the special meeting minutes from June 26th, 2025. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carries. Item number 5, consent agenda.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. All reports were available.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the consent agenda as it was presented. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Payment of bills. Treasurer Sosnowski.
Approval of June 2025 payroll in the amount of $97,706.20, and bills to be paid for July 2025, the amount of $570,148.60, total of $667,854.80.
I move that we pay the bills in the total amount of $667,854.80.
It's been moved and supported that we pay our bills in the amount of $667,854.80. Roll call, please.
Treasurer Capoli.
Yes.
Trustee Capoli. Trustee Hashem.
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski.
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
President Wyson.
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert. Yes.
All right, treasurer's report.
Total village cash assets of $8,328,888.57.
I'll make a motion that we accept and file the treasurer's report as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and supported that we approve, receive and file the treasurer's report. Roll call, please.
Trustee Pankowski.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero. Yes. Trustee Dilbert.
Yes.
Trustee Capoli.
Yes.
Trustee Hashem.
Yes.
President Wyson.
Yes. Communications and committee reports. Item A, clerk, what's that?
Items for the August agenda are due August 1st, please.
Thank you. Planning commission update, trustee Dilbert.
The planning commission met last Tuesday, and we dealt with the temporary batch plant. In your packet, you have some information. The applicant is asking for some waivers, and so we will deal with that. We will deal with that as soon as somewhere else on the agenda, or
Yeah, it's under new business.
but that's that was the crux of the whole planning commission meeting, just dealing with these waivers for this temporary batch plant.
Item number C, Parks and Rec update, trustee Guerrero.
Yes, we talked about some fall events coming up. Also, this Wednesday, July 9th, is the first slow roll, and Red Hat Food Festival is this Saturday about at 4 o'clock. So everybody come on up.
Perfect. All right. Unfinished business. I was hoping that Attorney Gaddis was going to be here for this portion of the meeting. In the executive summary that I wrote up for everybody, we did have 2 town halls to discuss the marijuana ordinance. Most of the people that came to the meeting are actually in the audience right now. Out of the 2 town halls, we had 5 whole people who showed up. Out of the 5, only 3 who are actually in attendance right now were the only village residents who attended. We had 1 person from Macomb Township and 1 person from Lennox Township. Overall, I'd like to, my summary is that everybody, you know, maybe didn't necessarily want it in New Haven, but they understood why we're trying to do it. We had a lot of good feedback though. So some of the suggestions that I put in the executive summary were about having the ordinance specifically call out what the fencing requirements would be, what type of requirements would be for having security at the facility. There was the talk about other communities have a clause in their ordinance about charitable donations that the applicant would have to donate a portion of their sales profit on an annual basis. So these were some of the suggestions that were brought up. The one thing that was pointed out is that the ordinance does say that it cannot be placed within 1,000 feet of residentially zoned or occupied properties. There are 2 properties that are residentially occupied within the heavy industrial section of Roselle. So I was hopeful that Attorney Gaddis was going to be here so we could have a better understanding of what that would mean. With everybody's, if everybody is okay with it, what I was asking as a recommended action for tonight was to look into beefing up the ordinance with the aforementioned edits regarding fencing, security, and or charitable donations, just trying to beef up the ordinance a little bit more, put some more requirements in there that protects the village and the residents.
So this ordinance right now is just still floating, it's still
Right.
in review, there's gonna be no action taken.
Right, this is just asking for permission for Al to, if everybody's in agreement of it and permission to have Al make further modifications. Right now, the ordinance is still just draft phase. So if he makes these modifications, we would bring it back to the next meeting in August for review, and we would do the 30-day review process, or essentially what becomes 30-day review until the September meeting. So we wouldn't have a possibility of an actionable item for this until September. So, and between then and now, you know, if everybody on council is in agreement with having these modifications made, what I'd like to do is then circle back and I really want to communicate the updated ordinance and what changes were made based off the feedback that we got. It was good feedback. Thoughts?
I just have two comments, and one of them is the donation. I don't disagree with. The only problem is that we are not and don't have a 501c3, so it wouldn't be considered a.
So this was, in other municipalities, they have a clause that the facility has to donate a portion of their profits to a charitable organization within the municipality, not necessarily to the municipality.
Okay, but that's fine, that covers
So,
that.
schools, youth sports,
Perfect.
something.
What happened to that 501c3 that we voted on?
Our previous president disbanded it without notice.
Awesome.
And then, my next comment is, do we need to confirm that there are available sites that meet the zoning requirements there?
Correct, yeah, that's what I was really hoping that Attorney Ennis was gonna be at the meeting, and I was kinda hoping if we stalled enough that he'd show up, but, looks like we're not gonna be in any such luck tonight. So, I mean, it's really just asking permission for me to work with, Attorney Addis on beefing up the ordinance with some of these requirements, to give it another go-around at the next meeting.
I support that, if that's all you need is a verbal.
Yeah. I guess we have a motion then to allow for further updates with Mr. Addis.
Yeah, we can make that motion, yes.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a support?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and doubly supported. Any further discussion on the motion? I love throwing it in
I
there.
know, that's just our time, you're good now.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll take that back to Mr. Addis and try to get another go-around for next month's meeting. New business, we have item number A, 2026 recreational, 2026 category B funding. Mr. Matt, do you want to come up and talk about it? Sure.
Thank you, President Wilson. Good evening. As directed by the street committee, we put together an application for next year's category B MDOT funding request. And this is in relation to the Haven Ridge Fountain Park. We are going to rehab the road and put some parking and some storm sewer modifications. So in your packet, there is the application itself. And thank you, Trustee Dilbert, for catching that one typo. The actual construction cost is $494, and we are requesting $247.20 at that 50% match. The actual, not including the non-participating infrastructure work, it is the $277.20. So in the resolution, that request, it should say $247.20. Minus the $247.20.
It says 270.
$277.20, yeah. That,
I can change that.
yeah, thank you. That included the non-participating infrastructure work. So, if the council would like to move forward, the motion here is to authorize the president to sign the application on behalf of the village, and so we can submit. And I can take any questions.
The traffic study on your work shows the traffic count for that. Was that a study done by us, or was that the latest numbers from the county or some other?
This is a combination from Semconic and whatever we have available data online. We have not done a traffic study.
And what was the resolution number?
2025-004.
And then for my own, say, so the 247 versus the 277, the $30,000 difference is the
They call it non-participating infrastructure work, water, sewer.
so the $30,000 difference, is that half of the non-participating, or is that all the non-participating?
That's not participating at all.
So-
We don't include it.
Okay.
That's why the form automatically adds the 30,000.
Oh, I see that, yeah.
So you see
Okay.
it 277. It's actually, we're only requesting up to the 250 threshold max, which is in this case, 247.20.
Gotcha, okay.
So the resolution should read 247.20.
Thank you. Correct.
Yes.
And for scoring, even though that we have to pay for the, it's not participating, does that still help in the scoring for the application purposes?
We are hoping, since I think they changed the application last time, when we looked at it, sidewalks were not considered any a higher score criteria if you add it to the project. Unfortunately, we're trying to lump it with some storm infrastructure work, so hopefully we can get some points, extra points by doing that. Remember, this is a very competitive grant application. We were successful a few years ago. We received, I think, 2 or 3 of them back to back. And then, I don't know, maybe they said we received too many. We lost the depressed designation Western Tracks. So I think that hurt us a little bit. Again, we received 2 or 3 of them. So the MDOT is just trying to spread.
Yeah, their scoring system that they had set up, you actually get deducted points for having a past award. So we actually lost points for that.
And that was for X amount of years, right? This is the
Yeah.
first year that we don't have that negative scoring anymore?
Verbally, I've been told that, yeah.
Okay.
So we hope for the best.
Right.
We can only apply and see what happens.
The worst they can say is no.
Correct.
And we would only be doing this work if we were to get the grant funding.
That was the recommendation from the street committee.
Yeah, I think overall, I mean, the improvements that we're planning here for Haven Ridge, you know, especially with us having the red, hot, and blue downtown again, and just all the other functions that we plan to have, you know, where we've, Parks and Rec has requested that we move music in the park to Fountain Park, so that it's downtown, as people are driving down Main Street, they can see, hey, look, there is stuff going on. You know, we do have, it might not be much, but we have something going on. We have, you know, Main Street Grill. They did get a to-go license, so they will be able to, you could go to Main Street Grill, get a beer, and walk over to music in the park and listen to some music. So, you know, this kind of just supports that vision of having more vibrant downtown area. You know, we'll have the roadside parking, we'll have the expanded sidewalks, and then we'll have the better sewer infrastructure for drainage.
Well, I'll move to adopt resolution 2025-004 with the modification of the amount being $247,020.
It's been moved and doubly supported. That we adopt resolution number 25-004. Any further discussion on the motion? please.
Trustee Chacolo?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchell? Yes. Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero? Yes. Trustee Nona?
Yes.
President Mason?
Yes. Sir, and I'm gonna probably have you stay up here for the next subject too. So item number B is the temporary batch plant site, plan waiver request. Sir Matt, I'll let you explain this, you'll probably explain
Thank
a
you.
lot more eloquently.
So Market Entry Contracting came applied for a temporary batch plan, under a special land use to be incorporated into Ajax current operations. That was applied for back in March, and there were some requirements by the planning commission that were not followed, and some of the engineering requirements, since it does not fall under zoning, the only way to waive those requirements is to come to council and ask for them. So for instance, a paved roadway, 6-inch concrete curb and gutter, 7-inch concrete pavement, all parking, traffic study, detention pond, underground pipes and all that. So all those requirements automatically get triggered by a special land use application. We don't have the authority to waive it, only council has that authority. So they are here asking for those items to be waived. Now, with the nature of the business, it's temporary, and I believe the planning commission will grant them a 1 year or a 2 year with the expiration timeline, so they have to apply again and again every time they want to renew it. Since it's, again, temporary in nature, we don't have an objection for council to waive these requirements.
And I think we have a representative from Mark Anthony, right?
Yeah, I didn't know if I should.
Yeah, if you wanted to speak to council too.
My name's Joe Farrell, I'm the owner of Mark Anthony's. And basically, we're just here. We apologize that we put the plant there without knowing we had to go through this. We took it immediately. And now we're requesting the plan. The plan is about, it's not intrusive, it's about the size of a semi-trailer. And it's on wheels. So it can be folded up and moved in a day.
And that's why it gets the temporary designation, not
Yes.
necessarily that it's a short term.
So
It's
we,
just
yeah,
that it's
we
a
do.
portable.
We do highway paving. When we set it up in Ajax parking lot, we paved the little, it wasn't small, but corporate park across the street of Ajax. I don't know what the name of the corporate park was. Like,
Okay, yeah, I'm not
it was
familiar.
let out. ML Chartier did all the removals and we paved it with those guys. And that's basically what it's set up to do.
Any questions from council or?
I don't have a question, I just have a statement to make. Well, it is portable, and we accept that fact that it's portable. And it's important that we, if we decide to grant these waivers, that we put a time frame on it. Because if we don't put a time frame on it, then they never have to come before us again.
I actually agree with you.
I'm sorry.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So it's important that we require them to come back either annually or every 2 years, you know, whatever time frame we put on it.
It's important for us to gain your trust also. So I believe that's extremely important to put a time frame on
And Sir Matt, is that time frame? Is that through the council acceptance of the waiver or is that through planning commission?
So council is granting waivers request, but council can make that determination. There was a discussion, just to, piggyback on Trustee Dilbert's statement. The planner, or there was a discussion at the planning commission meeting that a special land use approval will run with the land. So once you grant the special land use, that's it, it's approved. But council and planning, it's my understanding, they do have the authority to put an expiration date on it. So if you want to put that as a condition of granting the waivers, absolutely.
it. And we do that with Ajax also. We have a 1 year, 2 year deadline, call it a day. To say, hey, okay, we stay here another year or another 2 years.
Did you get the agreement with the parking with HAC? You were supposed to require on-site parking requirement.
I did not get that, but I don't believe I will have a problem with it. We work in conjunction with Ajax on parking, so. And the parking, when the plant's not running, the concrete mixers and the employees will not be there. There'll be one loader sitting, maybe. It'll just be the plant itself. So there won't be a constant influx of people.
And
Trustee
Trustee
Dover,
Dover.
the waiver of the on-site parking required is contingent upon that. It's stated in the memo that I.
Yeah.
Contingent upon the other waivers?
It's contingent upon the shared parking usage agreement with Ajax. So if they don't have that, then
Right.
that waiver is not valid.
Yeah.
Yes, I can supply you with that.
And then for our own education, how many years has it been that Mark Anthony's been operating here? I mean, I know it's been operating for so many years without a certificate of occupancy, and it's not pointing fingers or putting blame or anything like that. It's just, you have been operating for so many years without issue, we'll say. It's just that when we started doing the commercial inspections, it was discovered that there wasn't a certificate of occupancy, and that's what kicked all this off.
I think it was don't quote me on the date, maybe a year and a half
Okay,
or two. We paved that corporate part across the street and we just didn't move the plant.
okay.
But we don't operate out of it on a daily basis.
So the only reason why I bring it up is to say that this business was operating without issue for over a year. It's just that in the nature of us doing our new commercial property inspections, we discovered that there wasn't the certificate of occupancy, which then triggered all the paperwork, and then Mark Anthony had, coming here to ask for these waivers. So this isn't a new business that hasn't been involved or been here in the day.
And we operate 3 plants, 3 portable plants. One's in Warren and one's in Plymouth.
Yeah, I pass by the Warren plant Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays when I go to work.
So we're paving 9 Mile and 10 Mile. That's
Oh,
us.
yeah.
We're working for our prime contractors, Baines Excavating and ML Here,
Yeah,
which is, I think, located, they got a,
26 miles.
right there at 26.
Yeah, Marine Highway. Questions from council, statements, questions, either for,
I'll just state that approving waivers could be a slippery slope, so that's why we have to have a date on it.
Does the planning commission have an official recommendation or no?
no. They wanted it to come to council first, if I remember correctly. Thoughts? If we go through the waivers that are being requested, on-site paving requirements are 28-foot wide paved roadway with 6-inch thick concrete curves. The rationale for this waiver request is the fact that this is a almost entirely gravel and sand, facility. We wouldn't expect them to have to pave and put curbing in when it's all gravel.
So they'll just get destroyed.
Yeah, so that's actually number 1 and 2. The waiver of traffic impact study, again, because this is just, they actually only have 2 employees that operate this. There are the trucks that are coming in now, but they already have the trucks coming in and out for Ajax that they share the site with.
It'll be similar to the same vehicles.
Yeah. The on-site parking requirement, again, they right now, they only have, what they were, in their site plan, they were planning for 2 parking spaces. But there was the discussion that, to have the waiver about on-site parking entirely, so that it doesn't have to be paved and doesn't have to have all the, requirements surrounding that. They were gonna reach out to Ajax and just see if they could just park at the Ajax facility instead. Since it's all pretty much within the same site, the 2 employees could just park with Ajax and then walk over to the facility, or the plant. Complete waiver of the detention pond and underground pipes, including all pipes, catch basin, and detention pond. This is because they don't have, the only water that they're using is water that they bring in, and it's used to, for dust mitigation and the mixing of the concrete.
Correct, yes.
So they don't have like wastewater, you know, they don't have runoff. And since there's no paving, the paving is usually what would require the detention pond. So without any paving, it really wouldn't make sense to have a detention pond. And then the waiver of access easement, operation, and maintenance agreement of said pond, since they wouldn't have one. So, you know, with the type of facility that we're talking about, the waivers that are being requested, that, at least in my personal opinion, they seem pretty reasonable considering the setup. It's just you know, something that SURMED cannot waive their requirements. It has to be done by council. SURMED, anything else you want to add?
That's correct. We can only cite the current ordinance, but we don't have the authority to waive them. Only council have that authority.
So in essence, none of these waiver requests will have any damaging effects to the village or the residents in the surrounding area.
No, I mean, if you look at the Google overhead view of the Ajax facility, the parcel, I mean, the whole parcel is gravel with, you know, aggregate piles. There's landscape berming around the perimeter of the property. It's right up against the railroad tracks. It's in the industrial area.
Correct. And the requirement for paving a parking lot and access roadway, it's for public access and also for the fire department access. Since this is not going to have any public access, it's only employees and trucks in and out. And also fire department, they were on site, and I believe they are okay with the current access drive.
That's correct, Chief.
I was looking for it.
If I can make another statement with the same statement. The only reason this is before us is because this is considered a temporary plant. If it wasn't a temporary plant, this would not be before council. These are issues that they would have to deal with at the planning stage. So,
Yeah, if this was a permanently built structure.
Absolutely. We would not recommend council approval.
Well, I'll move to grant the waiver request as presented to Mark Anthony Contracting Incorporated. The waiver will expire July 1st, 2026.
Support.
Motion has been made and supported for a 1-year waiver for the 6 items that have been requested. Any further discussion on the motion?
Just amend that subject to final planning commission.
Subject to final planning approval?
Yes, that's right.
Just a question, so we would come in, call it July 2026, would you, what date?
I just said July 1st. So
July 1st, so we would come in June 1st and report again,
Yeah, anytime next year ahead of that.
May or something like that. Just, that's easy.
your normal operating season would be what, March to October or April?
May,
May.
April, May, really May is when we
And
start
frost.
getting red frost laws, and then we'll be run until about November-ish. Depends on if since we pay subdivisions also, the builder needs to get that subdivision and we'll run a little later. It's depending on Macomb County Road Commission's specs. They tell us when to
Right.
start and when to stop. It's all in their hands.
Any further discussion on the motion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Malkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero? Yes. Trustee Noah?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchman?
Yes.
President Mason?
Yes. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Item number C, Clinton River Watershed contract for October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026. Ms. Kitzel?
Hi, I'm here on behalf of Marcus Dilbert, our DPW superintendent. He is off-site working on an issue that we've been having the past couple of days. The reason why we're bringing this to your attention, we have to have this approved by council. We have our Clinton River Watershed Council, in order for him to keep our MS4 permit current, we need to have a public education plan in place. They provide us with that public education plan. If you look in when we come in, all those pamphlets out there in their hallway out there, that's what they provide us with. They also provide us, around like March, they come in and do a display with all the Clinton watershed and all the waterways and stuff like that, and information that can be dispersed to the public. So what I'm asking for Mr. Dilbert today is to have this contract, approve this contract. Our initial fee is $520, beginning July 14th, so we're late with that, so, but I don't care. And initial payment in February 2026 of $1,040. We do need this for our permits, our MS4 permits, and if you could please approve this so that we can keep our public education plan program going.
What is the total cost?
1,040 and 520, 1560.
I know you made the comment about billing for the week of July 14th. If Ms. Goofy gets the invoice added, I haven't approved yet, so we'll be close, but if she gets it added, I can approve it tomorrow.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'll get it in there. We've got too much, too much stuff.
Any questions from Ms.
They
Goofy?
won't hurt us.
This is also the education as part of the River Days that we do. every
Correct.
year.
That's what I
I will make a motion to continue the Clinton River Watershed Council Education Program, Stormwater Education Program, in the amount of $1,560. Is that correct?
Yes. 1560, yes.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the contract with Clinton River Watershed Council in the amount of $1,560. Any further discussion on the motion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Donkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Cashel?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero? Yes. Trustee Noel?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
President Weston?
Yes. Last but not least, under new business, we have 2024 Mishta fee annual return.
Under the state of Michigan pilot tax, payment in lieu of taxes, we have 3 communities that provide us with money for this pilot payment in lieu of taxes: Pine Tree Acres, Marblewood, and Pinewoods. We collected from them this past year $67,865.57. And we have to give to the state $36,009.47. I am asking to be able to cut a check for $36,009.47. Any questions?
I'll make a motion that we pay the state of Michigan, $36,009.47 for the pilot program.
Support.
Pine Tree, Marblewood, and Pinewoods.
It's been moved and supported that we pay the state of Michigan the $36,009.47 for Mishta, the Michigan pilot program. Any further discussion on the motion?
Yes. And I don't know if everyone around this table understands what the pilot program is. These low-income properties, they don't pay real estate taxes like everyone else does. So their taxes are different. And that's why we have to, while they pay us, then we have to share that with the state of Michigan and the ISD and all the other taxing units, but they don't pay normal real estate taxes.
Not millage rates, not school millage rates, they don't
capital expenditures now in the village.
This formula.
Yes, it is a form.
There's a form.
Oh, that's what I'm missing.
Yeah.
That's what that all is about.
Any other discussion on the motion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Dombrowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Hashem?
Yes.
Trustee Noah?
Yes.
Trustee Rivera? Trustee Foley?
Yes.
President Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 10, call from the floor, limited to 3 minutes. 3 seconds.
Good evening. My name is Annette Higgins, village resident and taxpayer. The issue that I'm here to speak to you all tonight about is because the homeowners, the property owners on the west side of Stevens Street are experiencing flooding in the basements on their property. And it's due to the building, the new construction over in Pembroke. And we've never had this issue before. When they put that berm in, and they do actually have some type of drainage back there, but it's an attic. And I don't think it's properly installed because it sits up high and the water is running down low. So I would suggest that maybe you send an engineer over there and take a look at it or whatever. I've already had to replace the sump pump, and the basement is still flooding. When you have the heavy rains, it's flooding. We never had to deal with that before. I spoke with the owner of the one property that sits on Clausen. His really looks bad. You could actually float a boat back there with, you know, the water that's sitting when the storms come in. So he couldn't make it here tonight, but he asked me to speak on his behalf. We have another owner of one of the properties who's experiencing the same thing, so it's pretty bad and it's getting worse.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on that. So we've had this property on Stevens Street for over 40 years. And now we're finding recently, water is coming up almost to the house, inches away from the house itself. And we're talking almost 40 feet from the end of our property line. It is literally inches of water in the backyard now. When it snows, when it rains, when anytime there's water. So that's a new phenomenon for us.
So normally call from the floor isn't really meant to be Q&A, but I do want to ask, just so that because I am taking notes here. So it's the west side of Stevens. Is it mostly from, what's that crossroad there? Clausen. Is it mostly from Clausen South, or is it happening for Clausen, north of Clausen as well?
I haven't spoke to anyone north of Clausen, but the 4 properties. There's actually 3 homes and a large acreage. They're all experiencing that. I went over there today and actually took a video of the standing water back there. So I haven't spoke to anyone north of Clausen, but most likely they are. Just haven't said anything yet.
Call from the floor.
President Vice, I will confirm, I actually live on the opposite side of the berm. So I see the flooding that is on the back side of the berm every single day.
Yeah.
Those 3 vacant lots that are directly behind me, there's probably at least a foot of water on the other side of the berm, on the back side of those vacant lots.
And I'm right next door to that.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll have to get with Lombardo then and talk about what kind of drainage they can do improvement to that. Okay. All right, we'll definitely, thank you for bringing it to our attention. Any other call from the floor?
Thank you. I'll try to make this brief. These are already quick meetings for me, so. I brought this up to President Meissen after my first line commission meeting. Just a little background, I've been in municipal government for over 35 years. 35 years as a building official, 20 years just a flare issue. I started thinking the other day about how many meetings I've attended in my career. Tree planning commission, zoning board of appeals, township board meetings, parks and recreation commission meetings, state of Michigan public hearings. And at no time did I remember any public meeting being open without the pledge of allegiance. Not any of them. And again, I stopped thinking about counting it about 1,000. So I would appreciate it if the village council would look into opening all of these meetings to pledge allegiance. Thank you.
Stole my topic for call.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Any other call from the floor? Seeing none, call from the table. Give everybody a chance first. No? Okay. So as it was brought up at call from the floor, it was brought to Planning Commission last week about the Pledge of Allegiance not being done as part of at the beginning of the meeting. To be honest, I'm not sure if it is a result of our new agenda software that maybe it got dropped, or never been part of it. Okay, so I did want to, because it was brought formally to our attention last week and before in private conversation. You know, what are the thoughts with council? Do we want to? I mean, it's a simple change just to add it to the agenda moving forward. I know at the planning commission it was brought up that the planning, you know, they were not for or against. They weren't buying or selling. They just commented that they're not sworn in officials. But I don't think that necessarily matters. It would just be to have all of our meetings begin with the pledge. Thoughts?
I'm in agreement.
Okay, we can, clerk, what's that, we can make sure that the templates get updated. Other item that I wanted to bring up, so as it was brought to our attention at the public comments on the agenda, as you all probably remember, back, I think it's been 6 months now, and I've been absolutely horrible about actually acting on what I actually brought forward, but I had brought it to council's attention to update our policy and procedure document that we would actually take public opinion during the moment of discussion on these agenda items. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. I haven't been good about actually enacting it. And, you know, just even tonight, just trying to think of how does that really work. So I know when I was asking, you know, once we had the motion and it was supported and I was asking if there was any further discussion, I was panning the audience as well, just to see if anybody looked like they were anxious and wanted to say something, but at the same time, admittedly, they didn't know that they could respond. So might need to figure out how we actually enact that, if, you know, but it is something that we have in the policy and procedure already.
If I remember correctly, it was modeled after how Chesterfield used to do their meetings.
Correct, Chesterfield Township. So I actually, when it was brought up to my attention before, during the planning meeting, I think it was, I actually did a poll on the Michigan Association of Mayors listserv. I couldn't really find any other municipalities that does it anymore. They've all switched to having just public comment on the agenda and then call from the floor. But to the point that was made, and, you know, I mean, just for full transparency, I don't really have anything against allowing the public to respond during the discussion phase. It's just, you know, we don't want a meeting to get completely overrun with public comment, that we lose sight of our own meeting. I know in the past, we've made motions that Trustee Dilbert, before he was sitting behind the table for a little period of time, and call from the floor, he would bring it up, hey, you guys didn't consider this, and it was like, oh shit. Shoot, oh shoot. So, you know, I do see the value in allowing us to have the public comment while we're considering our motions, as long as we still maintain control of the meeting.
That's the important
There you go. Yeah, well, we have to remember, they all have access to the agenda packet now. So they're, I mean, no differently than we have to do our due diligence and homework beforehand. And if we have questions about the packet, we have to be prepared and get the answers to those questions before we even come to this meeting. So there's 7 people here that are accessible to the public, because when we took an oath, we made ourselves available to the public. So each and every one has the same opportunity to read the agenda. If they have any questions about it or concerns, to reach out to any of us at any time and ask that question. So,
Yeah, when we made that rule for our meeting at the time, we didn't have the transparency of our packet to the public that we do now.
correct.
So I'm not opposed either way. We can do it either way. But if we went back to our old way, whether it was just a single public comment, I think would also be sufficient, because our packet's out there for the public to see. They see what we see, most of it.
Right. Okay. We can try to figure out how to kind of
Right.
model both of them, and at least, you know, if we scan the audience and see maybe somebody's kind of jumping at the seat that they want to say something, because we know some individuals that are usually jumping at the seat, wanting to say something.
It needs to be purposeful.
Right. Okay.
If we do it in that format, but I think would also help a lot with it is included in the summary, the specific action that somebody's requesting to be taken, be put
Yeah.
down in writing, so that
Yeah.
we know it. So it's not an open-ended thing, you know, we don't want to come to it, and the topic is, what do you guys think? It's, this is what I want to do, and then that, we can talk about that.
Sure. Okay, we'll work on that next month, and how we incorporate that in. Last but not least, I did have a question for council. I don't know if you guys saw my Facebook post, but we did have an unfortunate incident at the park on 4th of July where we had a family that went to the park. They were playing with sparklers, shooting off fireworks. They ended up singeing the brand new AstroTurf. It's not even a month old. I did talk to Macomb County Sheriff's Department. They did not know the identity of who it was. They did respond. When I was notified of it, I had the deputies go out and they talked to the residents. We do know where they, generally where they live, but we don't have their names or an identity. You know, in the grand scheme of things, you know, I put the post out there to at least make it known that we have cameras. We can see what happens at the park. At the same time, the singeing wasn't that bad of damage. I was kind of willing to let it go. We did have some feedback from folks though in the post. Right.
And if that's this year, what's gonna happen next year, or next week, or next month?
Right.
And just common sense. I mean,
Right.
you know, taking the fireworks over to the grass park.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
going to common sense anyway.
Or let's have it in the parking lot.
I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a rule in the park that says no fireworks.
yeah,
So
so
is there a sign?
That would be at least a.
there's not a sign. I don't think the sign, we don't have a rules sign, I don't think.
The park's not, it's not supposed to be occupied after dark. Yeah.
True.
Oh, there you go.
It's only open until dusk.
There you
Oh, well,
go.
there was your.
Right.
There you go. So
So how can you
yeah,
have
it's-
fireworks that dark if you're not supposed to be there?
Yeah, so the question that I had for council was, did you guys want me to pursue with Macomb County Sheriff's Department to see if they can investigate and identify and at least write a misdemeanor? I mean, it is damage to the park. They were there after hours. Technically, the state law says you're only allowed to shoot off fireworks on your own private property.
I believe so, because if we don't hold them accountable, we can't hold anybody else accountable.
Okay, all right, I will forward that on to Captain McPherson. Congratulations to him for getting a recent promotion, yeah. Captain McPherson.
Oh, what did that happen?
50 cents.
And now that he's Captain McPherson, I have been kind of hinted that we'll probably get passed on to a new lieutenant
Yeah.
for our liaison.
When did he get promoted?
Just last week, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations to him. Any other call from the table? Motion's moved.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported that we adjourn the meeting at 7:57. All in favor?